Happy Sunday morning, everybody. Ryan the Mighty Quinn here, the cornerman underscore MMA with Ruthless Elle Wagman. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing great. Yeah, I'm so happy you came on this morning. Obviously, we always text while the fights are going on, and I was pumped that you wanted to do this. I can't believe anybody wants to do anything besides myself on Sundays. Um, actually, I got a busy Sunday morning. I'm speaking with John McCarthy after this about some stuff too. So it's going
Nice.
to be a really active Sunday. Okay, what were we texting about? We're talking about the fights. A lot to discuss, a lot to break down last night. We're gonna start with something that is on. It's the white elephant in the room. The bad cuts we saw last night. And all right. Gregory Rodriguez had a bad one. Yeah, and then Song Yadong.
Yeah.
Uh, both were brutal, even for fighter standards. Now, personally, I felt that the judges or the doctors let it go a little bit longer than we've seen previously on basic cable or basic streaming fights. I don't know. What did you have to think about that?
I think there's a couple factors. It was definitely one of the bloodier nights I've seen.
Yeah.
And the blood started early too. Like we saw a lot of blood in the Bill Algeo fight with
Mhm.
Andre Fili. We saw some blood with the girls with Luke Boonmay and Gomez. Loma had a really nice elbow, caused a cut as well, or was it the knee? There were so many cuts. Um, I I definitely I was kind of surprised to see the Gregory Rodriguez fight go longer. But I'm so glad. I was literally Grant and I were sitting there like, he's gonna win. You have to let him keep fighting. He's gonna win.
Mhm.
Um, but I think just because of the placement, it really wasn't dripping into his eyes a
Yeah.
whole lot. I think there's a couple factors. I also think scar tissue has a lot to do with that. So like
Okay.
when you've seen, I know when Nate fought Masvidal, that
Mhm.
was such a bad cut, not just because of how deep the cut was, but because Nate has so much scar tissue. I think it caused the cut to open up even more. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. And it was literally like peeling down his face. Like it looked like his face was gonna fall off. So I think part of that, and I'm so impressed with the cut men doing their
Yeah.
jobs last night. I was in awe that either of those cuts stayed full of Vaseline for more than 10 seconds into the next round.
Man, especially with the Song Yadong fight, I expected that the next round that it was going to open up again. And I feel like a whole round went by before we saw it had to be clean. They really killed it.
Yeah.
They really did a great job. And I felt the doctors were really on the fighter's sides last night. Like it wasn't until Song was like, "I can't see," where he's like, "Yeah, I can't let you fight if you can't see."
Yeah, and I mean
So
that's definitely like at that point you have to stop the fight, and
yeah.
I think they did a good job. Like I understand. I don't know. I'm always on both sides. Like of course we want to see the fighters stay
Mhm.
safe, and I also want to see great fights. But as an athlete too, and you've competed at the highest level as well. Like there's so much on the line there. I just can't imagine if you feel okay to keep fighting, somebody else taking that away from you. You know?
Yeah. No, if I'm in shape and I feel like if I have, well, I've never been in this situation, but I feel like if I could at least see out of, like, if I have 50% vision, yeah, I'm gonna want to keep going. Um, I mean, yeah, I've already convinced myself if anything had ever happened, I'm just gonna lie to the doctor the best I can, fake it till you make it. As I've gotten older and I'm away from it, I don't want to see unnecessary damage or cuts, but it's like you said, it's a matter of, especially when it's half your money, like it adds a whole nother wrinkle to the game. I think the doctors have gotten better with that. Let's talk about another potential cut for a second with Aspen Ladd and Sarah McMahon. Now, we were kind of talking about this last night too. How Aspen has been shown she's a habitual weight misser, and I really feel for Sarah, 41 years old. We don't know. She doesn't know how many fights she has left in this game, and for that to be ripped out from under her, out of her control, I would be super pissed. Um, what do you think happens next with an Aspen Lad?
I really I would be surprised if she still had a job come Monday morning. I just they've cut people over far less,
Oh yeah.
and I also I don't understand it. Like I've stood next to her and I don't think she's that big. And
Hmm.
like obviously she's a lot thicker than me, but she's not very tall. And
Hmm.
like I don't see her as like a super big girl. And like women carry their weight kind of weird sometimes. So like sometimes
Agreed.
we look a lot different than we actually
Mhm.
are on the scale. So I will say that, but like she doesn't strike me as a big bantamweight, let alone featherweight, and she's missed it both, correct?
Correct.
So it's
Now,
like this is strike three. It and I agree with like with habitual weight missers, we were kind of talking about this where like some people just they know that people are gonna fight or they just don't care and so they don't really make that effort. And like she's not we've seen people dying on the scale.
mhm.
Oh she let me see, she's I always forget her name. It was at 45. There was a girl that was literally passing out on the scale, and they ended up canceling the fight over it. And I always forget her name. She's from like Eastern Europe somewhere. She's like Czech
I
or
know,
Polish.
I know you're talking about. I
You know what?
remember.
You
Yeah,
remember that fight?
I remember when this happened. We were talking about it on Monday in the gym.
Julie. Her name's Julia Stolarenko. Stolarenko. I don't know how you say her last name.
That sounds right. Yeah,
But
I'll
like
see
she
it.
was passing, like literally falling off the scale, still
Mhm.
trying to make weight. Like we've seen people look a lot rougher, and like to me, she doesn't look like she didn't look super sunk. She never looks super sunk in when she's missing. She never looks like she's like really at that point. And I don't know if it's an issue with nutrition. I don't know if it's a health problem. I don't know what it is, but like at that point, you've got to sort that out. Like you need to be seeing doctors, you need to be seeing nutritionists. You train it, you compete at the highest level of the sport, and really your only job is to make weight. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to fight technically to get your show money. Your
Hmm.
show money comes from you stepping on that scale on weight. That is the number one part of your job. That is the first thing that you're required to do to make your paycheck as a professional MMA fighter. And so I really I think they have to let her go at this point. I
Yeah, it's like a gatekeeper for what, like I just like you said, like, and like for those who are shorter, like you said, like me as someone who's shorter, I always knew that my body carried a lot of water because I was short and stockier. So now women retain water. It's a little more difficult than for a male, but when the pattern's there and you're missing weight at both, it's a matter of do you care or not. I feel, and it's not like she's on a 3, 4 fight win streak. She's lost her last two, I believe. I think she's even lost three of her last four.
so
So
yeah.
it's like, what is she there for? I don't know. I wonder if they will. Well, they could do two things. They could also, for Sarah's sake, they could rebook this fight possibly shortly down the road, and then just if Sarah wins, cut Aspen, or they could just cut her altogether. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I hope they do right by Sarah, though. Like I said, it's tough getting that up. But all right, let's get to the main event, the big fireworks. A great fight. It was. I loved everything I saw with it. The cuts we spoke about. I'll let you lead on it. You talk first.
Man, I was watching like the Twitter feed during this fight and like I thought Corey was way more dominant than I think other people thought. And I
Yeah.
think the thing that I was so impressed with, and like DC mentioned this too, he was just stopping Song's forward pressure,
Hmm.
which if you watch Song fight, that's an incredibly difficult thing to do because he's so explosive. I was also really impressed with Song's cardio. I thought he was going to be
Hmm.
like no legs by round four. He
Right.
actually carried, like he paced himself super well, but he explodes forward so well, and he covers that distance, and he's almost like a little meatball, like he's just like a little tank. He just presses forward and he walks through a lot. And Corey is kind of that. He's very accurate. He's very fast, and he has like dangerous aspects to his game, but it's not so much that that one punch power that we see from a guy like Song Yadong. He usually needs to land elbows and knees to do that damage. And he did such a good job just meeting him in those crashes to be able to stop that constant forward pressure. And I loved the wrestling. I think at the beginning people saw him failing on the takedown attempts and they're like, what is he doing? But I was like, all I could think about is like Song reacting, making these big,
Yep.
huge reactions, these like sprawls ahead of time. And I was like, oh, he's gonna knee him. Oh, he's gonna knee him. He's setting up the knee. And he sets these traps really, really well. And so maybe I looking back, I watched the fight again. I do think Song won the first, but it was really close. And the reason I think that it was so close is because I can already see Corey Sandhagen setting up the traps early in the fight for later. And I love that. That's the reason he's one of my favorite fighters. I think he has phenomenal fight IQ.
I had Song winning the first round as well. Like you said, very close. It was tough. Um, After that, I had Corey winning, and I didn't. nothing led me to believe that Corey was going to lose a fifth round had it happened. Why was that? I felt the adjustments were phenomenal. I felt that like Song, for his style of fighting, he should have been out jabbing Corey, and he really wasn't. Now, Corey's jabs weren't true jabs, but he was doing enough to keep the shorter, stockier fighter away. He was just kind of like, I mean, you'll see this with a lot of taller MMA fighters. You don't see it in boxing as much, but and that's just giving him something to think about. I didn't see Song feinting or double jabbing really. I just saw him trying to time power, which we kind of knew that was going to happen. But against somebody like Corey Sandhagen, I need to see some head movement on the way in. And I didn't really see that. Corey didn't see it either, I think, because if you see Corey's body language in the first round, I guess the best word is excited. He was, and then towards the second or later second, third, and fourth, he was a lot more relaxed because he's like, this guy's not giving me anything to think about. No jabs, no feints. He's just trying to land that power, which is very, and this is another thing. I saw actually on Twitter that people were giving Corey crap for wrestling, or trying to wrestle. I thought it was beautiful, like you said. At the very least, giving Song something to think about. Because what Song started doing after the fact, he started adding this, which was all it was doing was slowing him down. To try to stop Corey's wrestling, he was doing like leg feints, like he was feinting a knee to try and stop. And Corey wasn't buying it because the wrestling was just to set up everything else. I thought it was a beautiful game plan. I really thought it was a beautiful game plan. We didn't see the fifth round, obviously, the cuts. I saw it going Corey's way, and I'm really happy that he got that win, especially the way he did, because people are, because of Corey's last couple fights, oh yeah, well, who is he? Dude, this guy is legit. Unfortunately, he's in that gatekeeper mode right now. But no, it was a great fight. Great fight.
And I 100% with you. I love seeing him get this win. I think Song is incredibly tough. He's been one of my favorite bantamweights for a long time, and that says a lot because I love the bantamweight division. I think it's the most exciting division. I think it's one of the deepest divisions. I think it has the most opportunity for that belt to change hands over and over and over again, because there's just so many good guys with so many different specialties and great styles. There's a lot of really well-rounded guys in that top five, and Sandhagen is one of those guys. Like he's good everywhere. He has the opportunity to beat you everywhere, and I 100% agree with you on him initiating the wrestling. And I think Song took a little bit too long to get going. We saw him in the fourth when he kind of started to wrestle. Obviously, it was off the caught kick, and he wrestled. Yes. I was like, oh, it might be 2-2. And then Corey worked up, finished on top, and I was like, no, like he won that. He finished. He claimed that round towards those last 2 minutes. But that's when he started to do well. And I think I agree with you. I think if he were fading more, I think if he had more volume. Because Corey, like you said, he was just peppering that jab out there and just putting something in Song's face as the longer guy to make him think about that.
Yeah, you saw Song towards the end of the fight, the last 2 rounds. He just had that really high guard, and then on top of that, I saw Corey kind of lighting up I wouldn't say lighting up. He was scoring on the body a little more because he was just like one step ahead of him after the first round. I felt like, and I just it was a beautiful display. I think that's all we got today. Unless you want anything, talk about your fight coming up. I know we've been talking about it a little bit on Betting Bananas.
Yeah, I'm less than 3 weeks out. I'm fighting Celine Haga on October 7th. I'm really excited. She's my toughest opponent to date. She's had like 31 professional fights, a lot of experience. So it's a great test for me, a good opportunity to show that I'm ready for like a new level.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I could tell that, first of all, you're in a great place. I know you got a lot going on with the wedding and everything like that, but I could tell, like, I wasn't like you when I was a month out, 3 weeks out from a fight. I was like anxious. I didn't want to talk to anybody, and I could tell you're in the right place mentally too. So I'm really looking forward to the fight. And for those of you who don't know, we are co-hosts on the Betting Bananas podcast. We shoot on Wednesdays. It airs on Thursdays. Please check it out on Fight Bananas, and we will see you later this week, guys. All right. Thank you so much. You have a great day. All right.